morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone around the world. I am Paul Sisler, and this is In the Moment. Today's segment is The Flow with Shadow Fox, an artisan of the spirit. And her special guest today is Kato. This is part two from where we left off 2 weeks ago when Kato was on here. We were talking about natal charts. And basically, we introduced the synchronicity that Shadow Fox, Kato, and myself have, and kind of what brought us together before we dove into the actual natal charts. So that's what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the natal charts today. Now, last week we had Plometti, which kind of plays a part in all of this because Plometti's spirituality and parts of the things that he talks about intertwines with all of this. And again, just to remind everybody, I am an atheist. I don't believe in any divine creator that created everything, but I am very spiritual. I'm a spiritual atheist, which means I do believe that there is more out there than meets the eye. There are things that we observe and things that we don't observe because we can't see these certain things. There's effects that we can have on things. There's effects that the planets have on things. Just like the moon can move the tide, the planets can move energy. Whether you believe in that, don't believe in it, feel free to ask questions and stuff like that. So first, I'm going to introduce the host of The Flow, Shadow Fox. Shadow Fox, how are you today?
Hey, oh, I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
All right. Did you finish that banana?
Yes, I did.
All right. I myself, I'm enjoying an energy drink. I've got my V8 and orange pineapple. Oh my goodness, I tell you, you got to have the fruits of the world going through you. Oh,
Well, you have just manifested because I speak sometimes on G. We should have had a V8, right?
mhm.
It's like that old commercial like V8, right? So you got it. The V8. Wow.
Yes, yes. Needed that extra energy. All righty. So we've brought back Kato today. Are you
Oh,
excited?
Oh, yes, I am very excited. I have been actually I've spoken to her a couple of times throughout the week, but I'm telling you, I really am excited to hear this. She's a lovely, lovely young woman. She definitely knows what she's talking about with this, and we're just gonna have some fun with it. We're gonna all compare notes, and I'm hoping, um, Paul, that she'll come through and she'll kind of give a little bit quick background, like make the
Oh,
differences of
yes.
what, yeah, and for what she specifically does. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can't wait.
And just so people know, Kato has her website up.
That's right.
Yes, you definitely need
Yes,
to check it out. Astro by Kato. I have already gone through the website. It is a gorgeous website,
yes.
and she gives a little bit about herself right here. This is on the page that's about Kato. Again, you have to go to the website and check it out. She's really, her energy is so strong and so overwhelming. Once you meet her, those that haven't met her, you're going to be just like, oh my God, this woman is just like, oh my God, divine. You
And
know,
the services that she's offering, and I think there's a part, I'll let her speak about it, but it kind of really sets her apart from some of the others. And if you look on the website, I mean, yeah, you get to speak with her for a little bit. She does the charts, and then she can bring in some clarification. But I'm I'm like so excited. I'm so ecstatic that this is a beautiful opportunity for her. So if anyone's ever thought about doing it or looking, check her out. Check out this site and give her a try. Hmm.
definitely, definitely. So let's just bring on our guest of honor today. Kato, how are you today?
Oh my goodness. Greetings, guys, and to everyone live listening in. I'm doing really well. Thank you so much. I think it's amazing to be here today after the new moon in Scorpio yesterday and the solar eclipse. So I think it's always very synchronistic. We're always moving with the stars, whether we're consciously aware of it or not, but we're planting these new seeds. And I'm so excited to talk with you guys today.
All right, all right. Well, I'm gonna kind of have you bring us back from our last meeting and talk about that. And then before the show started, as you and I were conversing and all that, astrology and astronomy, kind of define them and tell us the difference between them, how they associate with each other. So bring us back from our last meeting, and then go into that, and then from there, take off with it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So last time I was on, it was really amazing to be on here and kind of talk about all the synchronicities as to how we met and how we ended up in this space together to be, presenting. And this week, we're just going to go in a little bit more about astrology, how the planets, the signs affect and influence us. And I love when there are some skeptics listening in and stuff, not to want to convince anyone or completely to project a belief, but I think it can always be a really nice way to expand one's consciousness. And in fact, about 2 weeks ago, I happened to attend a space which Shadow Fox came to, and it was Bible Hard Talks talking about astrology. And I came in, and it was amazing because there was actually an astronomer in there, and then me, the astrologer. And it's really fantastic to kind of come together. And although he was extremely skeptic, by the end of the discussion, there was a really beautiful flow of discussion and sharing knowledge. So to answer the question, it's, about astrology and astronomy, it's true. People get it confused all the time, mixed up. And originally, it was actually one subject. And with every single subject, there is an esoteric side and an exoteric side. So astronomy is the exoteric side. It's the outer, it's the physical, it's like the tangible. We can see the moon, we can see certain planets through telescopes or, on special celestial events. And astrology is the esoteric side, which is pertaining to the inner world, how we feel. And, we touched a little bit in the last episode about the Hermetic principle, as above, so below, and how we look at the macrocosmic and how it affects the microcosmic. So that is what I would say with astronomy and astrology. And, astrology is an ancient metaphysical subject. It dates back to ancient civilizations from Mesopotamia, and it has evolved and changed through many different variations. And a lot of people, even among the astrological community, kind of debate with each other, how can this kind of subject work? If there are so many different variations, right? There's a variation in India, in China, modern Western astrology, and so on. So sorry, I'm getting distracted by my own side. I'm like, trying to compartmentalize everything. But so yes, there's so many different variations, and even among the astrological community, there's this debate, well, no, this is the right way and this is how it works. And the way I see it as is that when we study a subject like astronomy, which has so many depths and layers to it, it's a really beautiful thing because we start to realize that we don't know so much at all. Every time, I look at my chart in a different system, whether it's the Vedic astrology, which is from India, or, the Chinese zodiac system, I go into deeper layers of myself, my psyche, my being. And I believe that they all have their own place in different ways. So I don't believe in, arguing about it and which is better and which is correct. I just think that they all serve their purpose in their own ways.
Excellent. Excellent. So
I'm
Shadow
sorry,
Fox.
I hit a button.
Not a problem.
I'm here. I really am. I'm here.
Oh, we got an awesome comment here. Paul, the synchronicity that brought me here is deafening. Thank you. I was wondering if Shadow Fox could give some insight or clarity to understanding planets in retrograde. I'm very new to this.
Okay, I would actually defer this to Kato because this is part of where, she has a lot more information. But I would like to make a mention because I do have the space open on Twitter Spaces, and I'm not going to be bringing anyone up at this point in time. We'll wait until like after the show. I'm doing this so it gets recorded so people can hear it if they're driving down the road. So, yeah, we're just again up in the nest. You can find the actual Paul Sisler's YouTube channel, and it is in the moment. And there you can access the flow if you would actually like to see us, hang out together. So, yeah, but
And
so
just
Kato, if you could answer that, that would be
and
great.
before you answer that, I just wanted to add on towards the end of the show, if we have time, I'll probably put the StreamYard link into the comments and potentially allow someone to come up and maybe ask a question live on the air.
That would be nice,
Yes,
actually.
yes. So go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead and answer that question, Kato.
Sure. So, welcome, Van. Thank you for being here and for your question. So, when it comes to the planets in retrograde, when we look at the word retrograde, the prefix is RE, the Latin prefix, and it's all to do with reevaluating, reassessing, reanalyzing while a particular planet appears to be moving backwards in motion. So, when a retrograde happens, it might seem a little bit chaotic. Let's take the most common ones, such as Mercury. So Mercury is the planet of communication. It's the messenger. When it is Mercury in retrograde for that time period, we might have a little bit more, miscommunication, misunderstandings, issues with, tech or things that we use to communicate with each other. It's all about the fine details and prints, but it's not something to be fearful of. It's just there to cause a little bit of chaos so that we can refine certain things in our life. So when we are communicating during Mercury in retrograde, are we speaking with intention? Are we rushing? When we read a contract, are we skimming over it? The retrogrades kind of create emotion and influence things to happen so that we can look deeper within and kind of reshuffle, realign certain things in our lives.
So in essence, like the stars or the planets that are specifically moving or in flow, right? They during this time, like in retrograde, they create a point of tension, and within that tension it allows things to start coming up. It's kind of like you might stub your toe, right? I mean, because you're not paying attention to where you're walking. So this is, I believe, from what I understand, which in this case is usually a little bit limited here, but I know that during these moments of like retrograde, so on and so forth, is kind of like I like kind of hang back and I pay extra attention, because usually that's when the chaos hits. you know.
That's right. Yeah. And when we look at retrogrades, they are really linking with the transits, and the transits are looking at where the planets actually are in that moment and how they're having an effect. So it's very interesting to kind of look. I pay attention to quite a lot of the retrogrades, but with the transits, sometimes I find that I naturally flow with them and then find out what was going on in the stars later, and it kind of starts to make sense why
So
this happened.
so when if you think about it, and we're looking at, and we people might have heard of it or whatever, like the retrograde, if you're when you're doing the natal charts, is there a component, because you I know there's different degrees, there's different houses, but is there something that recognizes or honors that pivotal point within the bigger scope. Like this one may have an imposing force, like really, bringing all the great aspects that you may have. But then is there a opposing one where it's like, yeah, well, wait a second, we got to bring a little balance over here. So is there
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that I really want to bring forward with when I do natal charts, okay? And it's the fact that there is no good or bad. And when there is
Mm-hmm.
the tension, so the aspect which creates a square, for instance, a lot of astrologers or a lot of people, when they see the squares in their chart or they hear about it, they get really scared. They're like, oh my goodness, like, I have a lot of squares. Which creates like an energy of tension, right? But what's so great about it is when we look at that, it's always like yin and yang. So the square creates a lot of tension, which gives the person more drive to actually overcome or utilize that
Yep.
energy for a positive. Whereas an aspect like a trine or a sextile, which is seen as a positive or like a more easygoing trait, the negative side to that could be that it would make the person lazy when that energy
Okay.
is present, because the energy is flowing harmoniously. So it's
Oh,
yeah.
oh, so that explains why I like to put my feet up on the couch.
Ah, see, now you've got my curiosity aroused because I function at my best in chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Now, now I'm curious as to when things are in retrograde and that chaos is becoming more predominant, if I actually function better in that, because I, in my everyday life, function better in chaos. When I worked in the casinos,
Mm.
when it was slow, that's when I would make mistakes because I would get distracted by too many things. But
Yeah.
now, when there's total chaos, I am aware of everything and pay attention. And that's where I function the best because I bring everything back to a calm. So I'm kind of wondering if when things are in chaos with the stars, if that's where I'm functioning at my best. So, but that's going to be explained in the charts today. So we're going to find out, aren't we?
Yeah, but I really love what you just shared, because it's a really great way to put forward that everything has like a positive and a light and a dark aspect to it. It's dual. And I love to hear this because it really goes to show that when things are more chaotic doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. It's how do you utilize this energy and or this environment that's creating the chaos, so I think that's awesome.
All right. So
All right.
are we
So,
going?
so Kato, would you kind of just fill us in a little bit on, because I know you had done, the natal charts for us, and we've been hanging out waiting now, and I just like to,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So I'm so excited, guys. I was digging into your chart. So I was working really hard on the website, doing it all myself and everything. And I'm so excited to unveil it. So I have your charts here, and I also have my notes as well that I've looked at. And I can't wait to dig into this with you. So,
Okay.
like, the birth chart that I do is based on modern astrology, and it's so this is like the newer version. I guess they used to have squares and they still use it in Vedic. This one's still a circle, which I like because it's kind of like a mandala. And we talk about the
Uh-huh.
circle of life and,
Yeah.
everything pertaining to a circle. And wow, when you look at the birth chart, it's very important to look at it all holistically and see how they all play with each other. So, you can get charts done on the internet, for instance, but this is like a computer generated. This is just this. It doesn't really look at like the interplay of the charts.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, it was really exciting. There's so much to dig into. But I have just kind of picked up a few things that have been I don't know, I guess the top
Little highlights.
highlights, yeah, or like
Yeah.
prominent things that stick out. So one of the first things I want to look at is the elements. And we have 4 elements in Western astrology, which is air, earth, water, and fire. So we can look at who has dominant energies of each element, and we can also utilize that with like what we're attracted to or what maybe we need to harness more. So with Shadow Fox, you are an earth dominant, and then it goes fire, water, and air is your least dominant element, which is the same as me, actually. With Paul, here's something very interesting. Paul is dominant air, go figure, while you guys are doing a show together. You get on well together. And yeah, for Paul, earth is a very close second. Water, and then his least dominant is fire. So it's very interesting because looking at you two, it's amazing to see how the synchronicity of coming together and creating like this balance. So
yeah. Are there like any of the, what is it, the houses, or like I probably really screwing up the terminology here, but I mean, for us, for like Paul, because we're trying to show people, that the differences, the band, what is the similar and what is like the differences, and it's like, whether it's whatever house is rising or whatever, and I'm thinking that might be something kind of neat to touch base, because I know it's very intricate, but I'm just like an overall generality, because there's something that I'd like to talk about afterwards, like towards the end of the show, if we get a chance, because I think it just brings the synchronicities to bear.
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and my question also pertains to, what does it mean to be air, fire, earth, water? What does that all mean? I mean, we may have people on here that when you say, hey, Paul's in air, what does that mean? Paul's in air. Is he full of hot air, or is his voice traveling through the air to everybody?
Yeah, so Paul, you're dominant air with the earth close second. And when we look at the element of air, okay, air is associated a lot with intelligence. We look at how the wind flows, how it changes. When we think about astrology, it's really good to put yourself with how it feels. So how does air feel to us? This is the energy that might be put forward. It could be changeable. If rattled the wrong way, it could be a tornado, for instance. When it comes to fire, how does it feel? It's a very fiery dynamic. It's very go, go, go. It's quite headstrong. Yeah. It, can start a fire, and even looking at how the elements play with each other, with the air increasing the fire, for example, or making the fire like smaller, is also something. With earth, it's very much to do with that grounded energy, being rooted in the earth. So someone with like a lot of earth, which yours is a close second to air, for instance, although you have a lot of air presence, you like to be grounded and stay rooted and, down to earth. When you look at these kind of phrases and words, like, I mean, it all kind of links in. And with water, when we look at water, water flows. Water fills up all of the space. It's related with emotions. When we cry, we release tears. It's all to do with like feeling and flowing with where it goes. So when you're around someone with like a lot of water sign energy, you might really feel inclined to share your emotions with them, really release your own water into the area and kind of feel connected with them. So with everything in astrology, always take a step back and think about, how does this feel? And to just answer, and that's a really good question, because there's so many different ways of like understanding it. So it's good to go through it. And with Shadow Fox's question, I do want to make a mention to, so when it comes to astrology, people always think about just the sun sign, which kind of dims down this subject as a whole. And I think it's almost been presented in that way to kind of discredit, diminish like its validity, because it's such a powerful tool in self-discovery. And when we look at the birth chart, every single planet represents a certain energy, and it shows what is happening. the signs will show us how that expression of energy is happening. And the houses show us which areas of life it's happening in. And the top 3 placements would be the sun, the moon, and the ascendant. And I'm going to give like a little way to describe how you would, feel and envision that. So when we look at a house, we're going past a house every single day. We see it. What is the energy that the house is giving to us? Its outer self is our ascendant sign. So our ascendant is really important because it shows us the chart ruler, which is the planet that is projecting a lot of its essence on the person. Okay, so that's the ascendant. It's like the outer self. And it also shows which houses, which are the areas of life from 1 to 12, you will have more experiences in, for instance. Then we enter the house, and this is the sun sign. It's how, the kitchen and the living room look. It's that kind of feeling. Then the moon sign is the bedroom. Your moon sign is the inner side to yourself, the inner core. The sun is like the ego. It's the I am. It's what we need to learn in this lifetime with ourselves. And the moon is very much connected with the subconscious, the unconscious. It's very much also connected with past lives and so forth. So that's just a way to understand the top 3. But then we look at Mercury, and it's pertaining to how we study, how we are intellectually, how we communicate. When we look at Venus, it's our values, our love, how we like to give and receive love. Mars would be how we assert our energy. So Jupiter is how we expand our energy. Saturn is where we're restricted, where we need to learn, harder lessons. And I love to look at the planets kind of and luminaries as teachers, because they're here to teach us something.
And what I think too, and I'm really glad that you had, brought this forward and explained it the way that you have. Simply because, there's a lot of times people that whether they don't believe or they're very skeptical, and trust me, I'm the first one that says, no matter what I say, don't believe me, check it out, do some research, see how that feels, how does it resonate with you, because I liked your explanation of the house. And when you think about it, when you're looking at that moon and you're describing it as the bedroom, and that is for the inner self, think of it, does that not, the bedroom in and of itself, if you're looking at your physical bedroom, your house, what is that? There's, for the most part, there's privacy, unless you got a whole bunch of kids. Okay, you have privacy, intimacy, you have creation, you have dreams, you have, that emotional component. Perhaps there's that sense of, that security and nurturance of the emotional component. So when you take and put all these little elements together and think, and it's like, then you can kind of connect the dots, because all we're offering in anything here across the board are just tools for self-discovery, tools that can propel you forward. I mean, you're speaking about, using the metaphor of a home or a house. I offer tools, right, in order so you can build that house. You can get a hammer, a level, and some nails, and you can look at the tools, but if you don't use them, what can you build? And when you have all 3 together and you combine them, such as what you were speaking about, the entire house, that presence, and then so on and so forth, the sun and the moon. So pick the tools up and see how they fit, try working with them. That's all.
Yeah. I love that analogy, because it's like, here's the house. This is for the whole world to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
This is how you judge me initially when you see me. The inside of the house. This is where I let a few people in. Come on in, experience me, get to know me. This is my communication aspect.
Yeah.
This is what I'm willing to share because I like what I see, you like what you see, and this is what I'm willing to share with you. And then of course the bedroom, that's me.
Yep.
That's my sanctuary.
Like the privacy.
Yeah.
And very few people get to come into the bedroom,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know. And then I see all the other things as this is the foundation. These
Mhm.
are the things that build the house that people don't know about. How well is it wired?
Yeah.
How solid is that concrete underneath? You know, so I think that was excellent. You know, I love that description.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. That was really, really amazing how you both just expressed it. And I do also just want to say, what's so interesting about having your natal birth chart, looked into and analyzed is it's such a tool for self-awareness, self-reflection, alchemy of the negative, transmuting it to the positive, and ultimately transcendence and raising consciousness.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing because, whether you believe in it or not, I love what Shadow Fox just said. It's like this kind of ancient knowledge and wisdom is not like the existence of it is not determined by your belief. It's a tool. You choose to use it or you choose not to.
Right.
And I love Shadow Fox as a example, because although astrology hasn't been a component that you've utilized in your life, when we look at your chart, and we've discussed it and the things before, your journey is so in alignment with what the chart shows.
Can you give me an example of
Yes,
that?
yes,
Or
yes,
share
yes,
something?
yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
Okay.
And I just want to say that you don't have to use it. It's not something that people have to use. It's just if you're looking to self-discover, get in deeper
Yeah.
with yourself, be more aware, learn who you are. It's a fantastic tool to do that. So with Shadow Fox, one of like the most interesting things that I found was in your 12th house, okay, which is a lot to do with endings, the subconscious, past lives. You have Pluto placed there, which really gives the indication that in a past life or lives, probably many, you were, the queen, the king, someone with profound wisdom and a regal essence to yourself, with healing capabilities that you brought back into this life. And when I look at what you do, to me, it's like you have this presence, you can feel it. And the wisdom and the knowledge you share, it's like you've been doing this for so long in
A
past
long time.
lives.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
okay.
That
So now,
sounds.
are you going to go over these charts with us and everybody watching so we can understand why we are all together?
Yes, absolutely. Why we're together and who we are. And just a quick mention for Mina watching. Thank you so much. It's amazing. She has the same sun and rising as me. And if you don't believe in astrology, meet someone with similar top 3
Yeah.
placements, and you'll see how similar you think and you conduct
Yeah.
yourself. So just had to make a mention. Okay, so let's go into your charts. And yeah, okay. So with Paul is a Capricorn sun, okay? A Capricorn sun, is a cardinal
That's
sign.
perfect, right?
So with astrology, the signs go in ages, okay? And Capricorn is the oldest earth sign. So it has this essence of, grounded, strong. It's very much related to the father or grandfather who has this groundedness, this foundation, this structure. And Capricorn in the body rules the bones, the knees, and so on. So it's very important for Capricorn people to learn to relax themselves, to release all these responsibilities that they have, and take extra care with joints. Well, here you're gonna get it, okay? Is some of the like things recommended for a Capricorn, for example, is things to do with the element of earth. What can ground them? Walking their dog, which I know you do,
Yep.
mowing the lawn, digging the ground, anything you can do that releases tension in the joints, flexibility in the joints is beneficial to you. But this is Paul's his sun sign. Okay, so when I met you, it was like, okay, Kato, you need to, do this and do this with your Twitter, and very much directing this like Earth. Let's get your foundation correct for your business.
Yep.
But when I started to get to know Paul more, I discovered his Pisces moon, and the moon as Pisces is the moon in Pisces. When we look at it, Pisces is the oldest sign. It's a water sign, and it is the sign that feels incredibly deeply. So having Pisces as your moon placement, Paul, what would indicate is feeling, the emotions of other people, of the collective, of loved ones incredibly intensely. And with Pisces, when we look at the two fish, it's merging. So the inner core of the self is willing to merge with other people. But when we look at that, it's very important for the Pisces moon to learn boundaries, to learn how to separate is this my feelings, or is this the person that I love, or is it the people that I was just around? And, it's very interesting because we have this like Sun Capricorn, and then this very, very intuitive, emotional, very receptive moon sign. So
we actually, I think, Paul, correct me if I am wrong, but didn't we do a show and Lee Two Hawks was on, and I think it might have even been Clemente, and that question came up, like, how do I separate? How do I, that empathic and trying to help, and how do you separate? And that is that perfect example of what she gave, was one of those, crisis points where you're looking at, like, well, how do I know this is what I do, but how can I rectify it, or how can I moderate it? It's right there, and there's the chart that's within the chart. And so that really does bring in those synchronicities, because when we're doing these shows, we're bringing this information, come on, we are the, we're the ones, on it, up in the front, we're showing our houses, so to speak, right?
Right. Well, see, this is where stoicism comes in, all right, where the critical thinking aspect, where a lot of people act and react based upon their emotions, okay, their passions, all right? So I'm angry, I'm going to yell and scream. I get angry, I sit back and I think about it.
Yeah.
Okay? I do not allow my emotions, which are very, very strong, to control me. I keep them in, and when I let them loose, it's because I choose to let them loose. So when I choose to love deeply, I love deeply. When I choose to lash out, beware. Okay, because I'm allowing all of that to just come at you at one time. So yes, my emotions are very strong. How do I keep my emotions in check? Critical thinking, reason, deductive reasoning, logic. I try to prioritize, because I know that when I lose control, there's no bringing it back in. I can't toe that line.
But see, this is what we're saying now. Whether somebody has studied this stuff for years, whether it might be new to someone, maybe somebody doesn't have a point of view at all. But it's so funny, because Kato did not know Paul until I introduced them, and it
3
was
weeks.
through, and so it was this dialogue of her, and here you go, and she put it out. It's like it's just a tool. It's something to recognize of what we do, what we don't do, or what could be influencing us in certain capacities. And seriously, that's all I really know about it. So, Kato, please continue. I'd like to hear a little something too.
It's so fascinating, because I've had the honor of having Paul come to my spaces, and he's got the Capricorn energy, which is sharing the knowledge in a very particular way. And then when we first actually met live, it was presented as well. But then I felt, you know, the moon, the energies of really caring deeply and with what you're doing. It's all going to tie in together, guys. There's so much like good stuff in here. So I'm like really
Please
excited.
continue.
Yeah. So what else did I put for Mr. Paul J. Sisler II? Oh, yes. So, okay. When we look at aspects, that's how the energies of the planets play together with each other. And with your moon in Pisces conjunct Chiron, that would indicate that's the Chiron asteroid is the wounded healer. It creates intense wounds, and it's in your 8th house, which is the house of transformation, death, and rebirth. This would usually indicate that there could be a loss, an experience of death that would be extremely painful, but would cause an absolute rebirth and complete change and transformation of the way one is.
Yes.
So, I mean, you can really find some profound information. And the thing about the charts is this information, this knowledge used to only be for the kings and queens and emperors and empresses. This was very specific knowledge that only certain people could have. And it's really amazing to be able to like look into it and kind of see when very difficult placements or energies or situations express themselves, looking into it deeper, like, okay, but this was supposed to happen because of this, whatever wound it might be. And when we look at this life, I mean, it's like a blip. When we like, you know, look back at it, when, you know, we transcend and we, you know, go to the afterlife and transition, you know, you look back and it all kind of makes sense, and you do join with your loved ones and things like this. So yeah, that was really interesting. Okie doke. So with Paul's ascendant, he is let's have the drum roll. A Leo. Woo! So this is, look at the lion, the king of the jungle, and the ascendant is very much with the life's purpose. Okay, so the Leo ascendant is asking you to be a leader, okay, to be that king of the jungle and step into that essence. Okay. The Leo is ruled by the sun. It's shining the light bright. But the thing to look at that is making sure that it's not coming from a place of ego, and making sure that it's really coming from the heart. And I just share like all of the information when I do people's charts. I make sure to never say, you know, you are this and you are that. Because when you look at your chart, it depends on what stage of consciousness you're at. It depends on, you know, I look at some things, I'm like, yay, I evolved from that. It doesn't affect me anymore, you know, or like I've looked into this already. So I like to just give a generalization of how these, you know, alignments can influence and be expressed. But the person who is, you know, receiving the chart has to take the gems, do the inner work, you know. And it's you know, I just want to say this quote that I came up with a little while ago on the phone with my boyfriend. Earth is a school of life. The birth chart, the natal chart, is just there to help you with your assignment. You know, it's not going to be, and there's so many different interpretations of it too. So yes.
All right.
So
I want to comment on this real quick and all that. And don't worry about time today. We are going to go over, okay? So we're going to go over. All right. It's really funny. You mentioned Leo and how, you know, I'm supposed to be this leader, okay? And what's really funny is throughout my life, it's like whether it was in school, whether it was in work, people always come to me asking questions. People always come to me. It doesn't matter where I'm at in the ranks, okay? Even the people above me in ranks come and ask me, Paul, how should we do this? Paul, how are we going to get this done? Paul, how are we going to do this? And basically, I'm put into that leader role, and I always fight it because I don't want to be the leader, okay? I
understand.
I want to, hey, okay, this is, it's not that I exactly want to be a follower. I want to be independent, but I also don't want to be the leader of others. I'd much rather be the educator and have
Right.
people help me be the educator. But
Right.
now it's like where we're at politically. I have written a book, and now here we are. I have this YouTube channel. I have taken on this role. So it's just like, wow, wow. So
Mhm.
Leo kind of hits me there in the face and says, hey, wake up. It's
Hey,
time.
hey, so I have a question for you, Kato. It's kind of when you're looking at Leo. I love Leos, okay? But can can it also be like sometimes depending on how maybe the other star, the other planets are kind of like moving, and could it be like entering a lion's den sometimes?
Yeah, I
And then
love
there's and you got
that.
to make friends and you come out with a friend, right?
I love that.
Sometimes because I
Yes,
do know some Leos, but some Leos can be like ferocious.
absolutely. There's so many like it's always dual, like we
Yeah.
said, the positive and the negative. It can be absolutely expressed in so many different ways. And I really love that you brought that in. And Paul, it's so funny because I'm not going to say who it is. I know, and I love someone else who has Leo ascendant. They also don't want to lead. They don't want to be the leader. And
Yep.
it's like,
Yep.
this is your role, whether you like it or not. This is what it is. And just tying it synchronistically, right? So you have created this channel. This is a very Leo ascendant style thing, okay? Because Leo is all about the cameras, it's being, in front of the camera, the ascendant being this leader to like bring people under like an
Hmm.
umbrella together is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I'm a Leo moon. I have a Leo stellium. So I have a lot of planets in Leo. So although it's not, necessarily obvious in the beginning, this is a really great place for me to come and to shine my like Leo moon, for instance. And then we've got Shadow Fox, which forgive me, I don't think I'm wrong, but your North Node is in Leo. And we're going to get
Okay.
to that in a minute. So it's
Yep.
very interesting because everyone, when people look at their charts, they're like, oh my God, I'm like everything. I'm every sign. Yes,
Yeah.
in different
Yes.
ways. We have
Yes.
different ways of
Yep.
expressing it. And
Yep.
it ties in with the whole like we are one. We are
Yeah.
one cloth and different energies expressed in different ways to play our role into, in this lifetime. Um so yes, Paul is the Leo ascendant. Whether you like your ascendant or not, it's what
Uh,
you're here to do and what to live with. And I'm really glad that philosophy was brought up because I think this is really, really interesting for Paul. Um, Paul, you have your Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion. It's also the planet of good fortune, and you have it in Libra. Okay, so for you, achieving expansiveness in a harmonious and balanced way, like the Libra scales, is very important for you. And Jupiter is also the planet of philosophy. So here I've put understanding the world and humanity's place with harmony and orderly relationships is important to Paul. Now, where it can be, a limitation is that with Jupiter and Libra is making sure that you don't have too much optimism about harmony and everyone getting along in society because then it's with Jupiter, it's like very expansive. So keeping still realistic and accepting that there is like discord amongst people and conflict and stuff, and not allowing that to weigh you down too much by balancing it
right.
like the Libra scales. So I thought that was really interesting as well. Um, and with your North Node is in opposition with Jupiter, and Jupiter being philosophical, it's very likely that in this life you enter with experience and knowledge from past lives which have contributed to your beliefs. So now you are using your wisdom to contribute to society in a positive way from what you've known in past lives. There was also a really interesting part that yes, this was it, with the Saturn in the ninth house. And you mentioned you're an atheist. This could indicate that in past lives, you have been restricted to some kind of religious organization or confinement. And in this life, you now have like the freedom to choose and be what you want and express yourself how you like. Whereas in a past life, maybe you were in a certain environment or a community which was very restrictive when it comes to religion and ways of being in life. So I think that's also really interesting.
Only during those damn Christian crusades, I'm telling you.
I mean, I would love to know. It's so interesting. We can tap into that, and the astrology gives like really good insights into past lives and what is familiar to us, and why we're thrown into maybe like the complete opposite, so that we can have a balance throughout our lives. Another part about Paul's that I thought was really interesting was Jupiter in the second house. And, Jupiter is kind of like a lucky planet. Second house is to do with material possessions, with finances, and so on. So this would indicate that no matter how tough times in terms of finances could be, Jupiter will provide good fortune, which allows you to manifest what you need when you need it. And I'd love, Paul, if you could share the story about the telescope, because I think like that is just so.
Oh yeah, just one day in the mail comes a telescope. I have no idea who it came from. Well, I've kind of narrowed it down because very few people know my exact address. So it's like there's only a limited amount of people who it can come from. And yeah, it was just sent to me out of the blue, and not a cheap telescope either. I mean,
It's amazing.
Not a cheap telescope. Okay.
I love it.
So somebody thinks I need to be looking at the stars.
So yeah, see that? There you go. Synchronicities. Is that not what it is? Right?
Yes.
It's when we have the convergences, I believe. But Kato, please, continue, because I'd like to hear how we don't have to do a whole lot on my aspect, but I'd like to bring how the things that you've mentioned with Paul, and even from yourself and me, because when we started the show 2 weeks ago, we started talking about all these little synchronicities. And this is where I'd like to start bringing and tying it together if we could. Okay?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, we have the synchronicity with the different expressions of the Leo, and being here on this show, leading with our hearts for something in our own expression, of energy, of how we can put forward a message that we would really like to bring into this world. And also looking at with the times now of the age of Aquarius and the concept of technology, the internet, and being able to have this platform now is very aligned with the times that we're living in now. This wouldn't have been possible for Paul to be the leader in creating the show, for Shadow Fox's North Node in Leo to be here. I have a really nice note that I put about that. With your North Node in Leo in the 11th house, which is about using your power in this life creatively to empower others from the heart. The Leo rules the heart. And with the challenge, maybe with this expression being, the head and the heart dilemma. So, is it going with what the mind thinks, or is it going with what the heart feels? And with the 11th house ruling like the collective, humanity, and so forth, the Shadow Fox, it's using that Leo energy for the collective. And this platform being here on In the Flow on this show is, I think, really synchronistic with all of our own different messages and journeys, with Paul's being very much about societal based, which the natal chart reflects, with Shadow Fox is very much to do with the healing, the medicine, nurturing, that love, that earthly, the ascendant being the Virgo, the purity and bringing it to the world, the moon in Taurus, which is, learning. Oh, this was, I think, really synchronistic as well. So with Shadow Fox, she has the moon in Taurus, and the more that you spend time in nature, it means the more the secrets of nature will be revealed to you. And I remember when I first spoke in a space with Shadow Fox, I thought it was really interesting. And she kind of gauged that I lived near a stream and gave me advice to, go and work with the stream and sit with the trees, and sharing all this profound wisdom and guidance on how to deal with this earthly special energy. And that's exactly what you did. You shared those secrets with nature, that you've been in tune with the moon in Taurus in the 8th house, and kind of putting it forward. So I think that was really, really interesting as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say yes, and yes, because, and that's what I really find fascinating. And it's just how you expressed it. It's like, people will say, well, who are you? What do you do? Or what, it's, you just stated it for the most part. It's that elevating, that conscious awareness of who we truly are and making that connection. Because if we make the connections, that within nature, then nature's the greatest teacher there is. And then we can therefore really get along and help our fellow human beings. So, yeah, I mean, all those little aspects. But there was something really funny that I started cracking up when I had spoke to you earlier, and I'm going to share this because you were talking about the fox. Okay. And I carried that energy, the shadow fox. And the fox has a great ability to adapt very quickly. Okay. It can pivot from one thing to another very, very quickly, very intellectual. But it can also get hung up on those shiny little objects that are over there,
Yeah.
and it takes due diligence to be able to really remain focused. And so in the reason why I carry the name the fox is because that was for quite some time. That was my journey, right? Being able to remain focused no matter what was going on, but still keep those abilities to adapt and persevere. And so I'm cracking up because you had made a mention of that, and it's like, yeah, well, and that came from the stars.
That's right. Yeah.
So this is like the elders really kind of knew what they were talking about when they named me.
Yeah.
The ancestors, yeah.
I got a question. Did you watch the episode Kato with Plemetti?
Yes.
Okay, so I talked about some dreams that I had about animals. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Not at the moment. I don't do that much, dream interpretation. I think the person, the beholder of the dreams, is the best one to interpret.
Yes.
I personally think.
I would definitely agree. Just very briefly, yep. It doesn't matter how somebody else interprets it. It's what does it mean to you?
Yeah. All right, because there was a few lions in there, but anyways, Diana has a question. Does numerology play a factor in all of these charts?
So I would see numerology as a separate subject. Numbers definitely play a fact, and that's when it comes to the degrees. There's a Serbian astrologer called Nikola Stojanovic who has the degree theory, which when you look at each sign, which degree it's in, it has a planetary ruler or an essence. But
Yeah.
I would see numerology as its separate tool of self-discovery, of guidance. And when I've had my numerology chart read, it was very much aligned with my astrological chart, but differently displayed.
Yes.
So that's
It's interwoven, you know, no matter which way you go, they become interwoven. And do you know that not only do you have astrology, numerology, many different aspects, do you know that even color can play a major role, even in, I mean, like, what do you feel like wearing today, right? You know, what colors do you pick for your bedroom? I mean, they do huge studies on this, like in psychology. Well, what's the best color for, you know, to get the room? What's the best color to bring healing? What's the best color? So it, when we take and we try to separate all these out, whether it's numerology, this, that, or anything else, if we can understand that it's all a web, it's all interconnected, it is, you know, interdimensional all the way across the board. So, I mean, Kato, please continue, because I'm not really positive how we are here on time, but there is something that I would like to say about the synchronicities. So,
no, I can wrap it up with this synchronicity that I think is really interesting. So as
well, you have to include you.
Yes, so it's coming. This is, I think, the best one that I could share, because this is something that I do want to say. It's challenging to, you know, there's so much information in these charts, and to have two different people who I'm not looking at as a synastry, but as two separate entities. It's like, you know, I'm used to like having one person and digging in deep with what they need to know, you know. But I will bring a synchronicity to kind of conclude it all, that includes myself, other than the whole Leo thing. So with the different systems of zodiac, there is the draconic zodiac, which is the study of astrology on the soul and the evolution of the soul. And some people feel more connected with their draconic chart because maybe they are more in tune with that evolutionary path that their soul has taken through the stars. So when I did Paul's Shadow Foxes, I was so pleased and happy, and it was exciting to me to see that all of us had sun sign in Sagittarius, and how this is going to conclude synchronistically is Sagittarius is the sign of philosophy, is the teacher. If we look at the centaur, and it's the horse and the human, and it's that strength to share, to teach, to lead, to travel in whatever way they want. And I think when we look at how we were brought together, and we look at the alignment of the stars in our own individual charts, we have this connection of being teachers, paving our ways that we wish to share with others. We also like to, you know, the teacher is always the student. We're always learning. We sit back and we listen to each other's wisdom, knowledge, and so forth. But I thought that was just really cool and synchronistic. So we all have the same sun soul sign according to Drake.
You know, and it was so funny because when we started this, I had a feeling, and it was like, is there any possibility? Because I know how intricate it really can be.
Yeah.
But where you can grasp whether those couple of points, because we are all working together, and the three of us are here on board, and we're trying to present this. And so, you know, we're all the little guinea pigs right here, right now. Okay. But when you had mentioned that, because bringing this together, and you says, yeah, I'll see what we can find, it was an eye opener, because we've spoken like backstage, not on camera. Okay. And the one thing that I can see, and this is something that I had picked up on with Paul the moment I met him, and I really think that it is very important for me to say, because it's like, you know, you give the kudos when the kudos is due, or you acknowledge that part of himself, like saying, I see you. Not, hey, I see you. No, I see you. And this part is where Paul comes forward in a very, very authoritarian way, meaning of great knowledge and strength. I'm not on that negative aspect, but getting the stuff done. Okay, it's like every single thing that he said he was going to do, he has done. And to me, that is a component of authority. Okay, because you are your words. And if you keep saying stuff and oh yeah, I'll be there Saturday, and Saturday after Saturday after Saturday you don't show up, where are your words? Am I going to believe you? And so I just have to say for Paul, from the time that I have known him, every single thing that he has said, he has brought to fruition. He has made it happen. He has integrated and brought people together. There were things that he did not know how to do, and he figured it out, and he did it. And so it's like where I'm on this the other aspect of, little things over here, and I can kind of get distracted, or um I'm on a path, I'm helping someone, and then, hey, can we do a show? Like, what? So Paul was the one, and he says, all right, listen, we'll get the YouTube channel up, we'll get it built, and come on board, and we'll do this. Because honestly, if it were left up to me to sit here and start pushing buttons and record this, you guys would still not have ever heard of me.
Now, I do want to make a clarification because words are everything. Okay. Authoritarian, I definitely am not.
Well, I meant
Hold
you
on,
have
hold on,
the authority. Okay,
hold
I'm
on.
sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
hold on.
Yeah.
Authoritative,
I knew when I
I
said it.
am. Authoritative, I am.
Thank you.
And there's a
Thank
difference
you.
between authoritarian and authoritative, where
Yes,
the
you are
authoritarian
authoritative.
says, this is the way and there is no other way. You're going to
Thank you
do
for
this
that.
regardless. Where the authoritative figure will be, it's going to
Yes.
get done, but here's your two
Yeah.
options. You can either do the dishes or take the garbage out.
Which
There's
is it?
choice involved, but
Mm-hmm.
there's
Yeah.
still something's going to get done,
Yeah.
and you're
I
going
know.
to.
I apologize. I knew I misspoke like the moment I said it, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that correction. So I'm glad you let me run with it, and then you come back, because, and I said it is in the best intent, because with
Yes.
that is strength, and that is courage to me. And so really, Paul, you shine a light on um when you have that creative thought and you see the solutions. I have every full capacity that what you're speaking, you will be able to bring forward. And I think it's very, very important
Well,
for people to know that.
well,
So thank you.
just know it. Thank you, and just know in November I have 3 more shows coming on. That yes, we're going to be adding 3 more shows to In the
Good.
Moment.
Good.
Wow.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes. 2 of them I guarantee. The third one I'm still working on. I need to have another conversation. You noticed Van in the comments earlier. Van and I are going to get together, and we are possibly going to create a stoic segment.
That
So
would be that would be that would be really nice, Paul, because when you have all these segments, they all tie in. It's not like you can really take one segment and then separate it from another, right? They're all kind of little intricate parts that build to a grander whole. And so,
right,
I mean, that Kato really that pulls full circle for even what his charts say.
That's
my
right.
my objective. I want you to think about this. I'm in a lot of circles on Twitter. I'm in political circles.
Yep.
I'm in philosophical circles, stoic
Yep.
circles, writing circles,
Yep.
activism circles.
Yes.
I'm in with spirituality circles, and a lot of these people do not interact with each other.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So now if in the moment, I bring everything that I'm connected
Yep.
to into one platform, and everybody starts to watch everybody and starts to, hey, let me check out this show that Paul's got on. Oh, wow. I didn't think about
Yeah,
things like that.
exactly.
I like that. I am now bringing all of you together. Okay.
Yep.
One day you're going to sit here and we're going to have a thing going on to where Kato comes in and she's talking with Bryce the Stoic. Okay. There's a connection that probably would never happen on Twitter. And yet I eventually, because Bryce and I, we didn't start out in sync together. Okay. Bryce and I were statistical people. We like statistics. And Bryce, boy, he questioned my statistics. But Bryce and I have now become really good friends, and we play devil's advocate with each other.
Mhm.
And the reality is that we're both driving for the same thing.
Right.
We just have different ways of getting there.
And,
And I think
Paul,
you and Bryce would get along great.
Paul, I think this is also a good point because I'm a person that doesn't necessarily care for a lot of contention. I don't care. I'm not here to debate. Okay, I'm here. Here's the wisdom. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
This is something that I've learned. I mean, and this is just me. This is that part of that personality. It's like there is an answer. You may not like the answer. You may not like the way it makes you feel, but guess what? Here's an answer. Then you can take that information and run with it or don't. The For me, I'm not a big one. It's like a debate to me is a waste of energy. It's a waste of time because we're looking at one point of view and then another point of view. And where's the middle? And so I will always go for the middle. Always, always, always. And so for me, that part of my personality is I will give. Here you go. Here's the information. Here's another way to look at it. Oh, you didn't like it that way? Okay, well, here's another way. So that's just because, you know, hey, go ahead, go research it. But for me, this is who that part of I am. I don't care for the contention. I don't care for the that tension. I like the peace. I like the balance. I like the harmony. Like you were saying, like that groundedness, right?
Right.
So, Kato, wouldn't that play more back into where in my chart, just from my personality aspect, where I enjoy that groundedness, but yet I bring the wisdom in.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So then,
So yeah, Paul, I'm just wondering, I don't know about time wise because I know Kato is gonna be a little short. So on time. So I'm just I
yeah.
just had to share that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, see, now here's my question and all that, because where that plays into her chart when it comes to debating. I love to debate.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I don't like to argue in the sense of cussing and fussing. I
Yeah.
like to
Right.
argue in the sense of let's have a conversation, bring the pros and cons of both sides, have a discussion, and between the two of us, we will figure out a better way of getting from point A to point B.
Yeah. And you know what? And these are all the mechanisms that really do play an intricate part. I mean, when you take a look and you see Paul and what he's presenting, and he can bring these aspects and hold his own within that debate, where, like, say, for instance, where Cato and we make a mention of something and vibrationally we right there. We know exactly where this is going and then we build upon it, because we've already done most of the work from everything else that it creates that fluidity. But without both of them, without where Paul has that part of that debate, and then we bring in that part of balance or harmony, the yin and the yang.
Yes. Now,
So
I had stated that towards the end of the show, I was going to put the link up in the chat. Now, I'm not going to do that because we do have somebody that I've blocked for twice now that's come in and is throwing up sex parlor links. Okay. So what I'll do is if you're in here and you would like to come up onto the show live with us and ask a question, my Twitter is right up here. My Twitter is right up here at Paul J. Sisler II. Find me on Twitter. And if I can see who you are, or if we already follow each other, I will DM you the link and allow you to come up. So you got like 2 minutes if you want to come up and say hello to get a DM to me that I can share the link with you to bring you up, because we are coming close on an hour 15 and we're getting close to running to the end here. So I just wanted to throw that out there to give people a couple minutes if they want to come up onto the show and say hello.
Yeah. And very quickly, just if someone is listening, I do have on Twitter, I have the space open for the flow, and that is being recorded. So when this show ends, I'm going to end that, and then I'm going to start the actual after show. And then this way I'm not going to record it. But yeah, if you guys would like to rejoin with that, because I do kind of have I don't really like recorded spaces myself personally. And last week I recorded the whole thing, but I guess I have to create a new one. So
yes. Now Van has a question. I have 1,458. He's very specific questions for Miss Kato, and says we're going to need another show. So with that said, I don't have anyone booked for next week, Kato, for Shadow Fox's show, The Flow. Do you have anybody booked?
Yeah, I'm still waiting to hear on something. So
okay.
But yes, I would like to give Kato an opportunity. But what I would suggest, she does have her website. There it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
She does have her website up. And if there is anyone who would really, even if it's just out of curiosity and interest, we tried to point out a couple of pivotal points between the three of us, what through our birth charts, natal charts. What was the other one? What was it called?
Draconic zodiac system.
Yeah. And so hey, give her a try, check it out, because I'm telling you, this woman, she is fantastic. And what I like about the work that she does is not only does she do this with the natal charts, but she also gives insight into different things that you can do, like to help bring certain things in your life into balance, or maybe perhaps eat differently, or so well, you can.
So the other thing that I'm going to put up there now, hold on, I got another question. My questions are going to be long-winded. I'll talk to you offline, Paul. Definitely. Okay. Kato, not only would definitely you're invited to come back. So when you have an opening, I'll let you go on here as much as possible. My other question would be, if you have an interest, right away.
You're breaking up.
Kato, you're moving papers or something.
I am.
Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. And I want you, if you feel up to it, would like to do it, you can contact me anytime, and we can do you a show.
Oh.
And we can come on once a week, bi-weekly, once a month, whatever it is. Definitely let me know, and I would love to do a show with you also. And then, of course, you can have Shadow Fox on as your guest. So if you're interested in that, please let me know, and I would love to have you do a show, because I think you can bring another avenue to the spirituality. Shadow Fox, I love you. I love you, but you bring a multitude of avenues into spirituality. And I think, Kato, you could bring something precise in this
Precise
aspect.
and focused.
Yes, a specific focus, and we can open that up if you're interested in all that.
Oh,
Diana, you're asking what the website is again. It's right up here front and center, www.astrobycato.com. There you go. And then, of course, Van, he's just loving it. Thumbs up. Yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for all the amazing comments. Like Blue Sun as well has brought a little bit of numerology with, the name of the name of my company, Astro by Kato. That might be of interest to Diana to see how like even the name of the company and stuff like that you create can have a value.
Oh my goodness, that is awesome. Was that Blue Sun?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Sorry, I didn't
awesome.
put that up earlier. I was getting ready to do that just as you did it. So the synchronicity there.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys see those things.
Oh, I have it front and center here. I have the whole line of all the questions and all that. So for
So-
me, it's just right there. And I was just getting ready to bring it up just as Kato said it. If you noticed, as she said it, bam, it was clicked right up because I was just getting ready to ask her the question and all that because it's like, Kato, what does this mean?
Oh, the comment or the
Yes, the comment.
Okay, so first of all, let's look at how like Blue Sun dissected, like even with the words numero underscore logically. So I know Diana's really interested in like in numerology. So if you even look at the word numerology, so what he's done, Blue Sun has done, is he's taken Astro by Kato and worked out what its numerological value is, and it's 48.3.
Wow.
He says that 3 in the name of Astro by Kato represents communication, human relationships, joy, life as a bird song. The essence is 144/9. 144 is a very synchronistic number for me, and 9 is actually the number of my birthday, 27, 2 and 7, 9. The Virgo Hermit card is also a 9. So it says where 9 represents wisdom symbols, Kato in a nutshell. So I think
there you go. Oh
I
my
think
Blue Sun. Oh my goodness. I'd love to meet you too. So it's like, oh my
Blue
gosh.
Sun, if you're on Twitter,
seriously.
send me a DM. Follow me.
If you're on Twitter,
Yes.
definitely.
Can I just bring a synchronicity? I just have to say.
Mm-hmm.
So Blue Sun and Shadow Fox, I see you guys as mentors to me. And he is a Virgo ascendant like you and a Taurus moon like you. So go figure. Kato has mentors with like very similar signs. You're a Aries sun. He's a Pisces sun. So the only difference is having the first and last zodiac. So it's very.
That's
So if you
cool.
see the synchronicities, it's really incredible. You start to look at the people in your life, the energies, the signs, and you really figure out like the purpose of why they've come into your life and what they're there to teach.
Oh, that is awesome. Kato, thank you. Thank you very much. And again, if for anyone who is on Twitter right now and you cannot see this, her website is www.astrobykato.com.
ASTROBYKATO.
Yeah. So I am going to actually end this space that's being recorded on Twitter, and I'm going to recreate another one. So I think there's a couple of people in here. If you guys would like to come back, because I don't care to record that. Okay.
Sounds good. And as I close this out, you two don't leave because afterwards we have the little after show questions I want to ask real quick. So, anyways, I know, I drag you into these things. All right. Anyways, everyone that participated today, thank you for your questions. Remember, be kind, be happy, and may good things come your way. Thank you, everybody. I love you.
Thank you.
Bye.